How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting, and welcome back to Muv-Luv Mondays, where we're here with Total Eclipse. So, we went from just insane, beta, crazy, stupid political talk to insane, crazy, interpersonal political talk. It is interesting, like, I kind of thought about it between the last session and this session, and it kind of occurred to me how weird it really is. Like Yuuya pointed out how it's really strange how they just jumped right into the next program, and they even kind of gave some good excuses for it, but then you actually think about the actual practicality. So they spent a bunch of resources, took huge risks to go and run an in-field test against beta with these various groups from the UN, right? Then it goes disastrously south, then they come back to base, and immediately they start doing an interdisciplinary like competition between the different branches that are working and coordinating with the UN. Like, immediately. I understand, like, they had some decent explanations for it, but at the same time, you really think about that, like, it's kind of crazy. It's almost like they all just were perfectly fine with the way things played out. Even, like, you'd think that somebody would be raising a stink, that somebody would be pointing fingers, that somebody would be under the barrel. But it feels like that just isn't the case. I could understand why the Russians wouldn't do that, since their machinations are an enigma. But what about the UN? Why wasn't the UN asking questions? Why wasn't the Japanese, like, really getting after people? Like, behind the scenes, it's pretty clear, but it's almost like they're all just being, like, internalizing it all. The Japanese higher-ups are using it to get political maneuvers on Yui's uncle, rather than, like, accusing or even trying to get, like, reconciliation from the Russians for losing a very valuable piece of equipment. The Russians, of course, are doing their thing. Then the UN/American forces are also just kind of like, woo-hoo, let's go do our TZF stuff. It's like, okay, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. There's gonna be, maybe there's some big reveal coming, something that's gonna help handle all the pieces, or maybe it's just one of those things that just doesn't make sense, that fills the world of politics and global communications and everything. Like, it's all a big nest of crazy anyway, so I'm not that surprised, but at the same time, like, I want it to make sense, because you would hope that even in a fictional universe, leaders of nations are doing things that are logical and, you know, productive? I don't know. Anyway, at the very minimum, we do need to prove that the program has merit in existing. At this point, the whole thing could be scrapped, even though we're in, like, the finale stages of it all, so let's go ahead. But it looks like we're gonna get some celebration first, and then I'm sure we're jumping right into the chaos, so let's get started.
Huh? どうしたYuuya?
Yeah. Man, I'm so tired. That's why I hate crowds. Agree.
いや、見てみろよ。すげえぞ。ユーコン中の人間がリルフォートに集まってんじゃねえの?
Yay. Huge crowds. The one thing I love most.
すまんが、通してくれないか?
Yeah, my bad. An apron on top of a BDU, so even the soldiers are lending a hand. Wonder what the Tsar kids would be making of this. Surface pilots need high-calorie meals, but the Soviet army just fed them some synthetic glop and called it a day. That's all teenagers in their growing period were allowed to eat.
Oh, Yuuya! Vincent! こっちだ!
Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of one of the conditions, too. Like, he saw real combat, and he also saw real casualties for the first time. Like, he saw people, got to know them, and then they died. And it's hitting him hard, and it makes sense, it does, but, like, he's probably wondering why everyone else is just kind of moving on. And I do, like, on the geopolitical side, do agree. It's weird how quickly everyone just kind of just like, oh, that's next thing. But when it comes to, like, his squad, they've all seen death before. And while, of course, it bothers them, and of course they really wish things hadn't played out the way they had, they've had to learn to, like, you know, dust themselves off, pick themselves up, and get back into it, because especially on the front lines, you probably have to go back to fighting again the next day, and you didn't have time to really contemplate things, which is sucky, because that's part of what makes the damage of, like, long, like rotations in combat zones really does to you. It wears you down. It kind of, like, abrasively rubs away at your soul and at your, like, I'd argue your sense of self and your sense of purpose. And that's why, even if you don't struggle with PTSD, which I think pretty much anybody who goes to a combat zone has at least a little bit of, like, you got trauma you have to process somehow. Whether it's debilitating or not is really the question. but then you also have to kind of try and remember what it's like to be a normal person again. And I don't think that's an easy thing.
あれ ?BG はどうした
Don't know. He was with me when I got off the bus.
なんだよ。イタリアンは世界最高だっつうからこの店にしてやったのにさ。
I wonder if he's making it for us.
どうせいつもの友好親善活動だろ？店は分かってんだ。気が向きゃ来るって。
Letting VG roam free during a gathering like this is like releasing a wolf in the middle of a flock of sheep. Man, he's really a playboy, huh? A wolf that exclusively chases female sheep. Still, the guy can cast away his sense of shame and strike a conversation with anybody like they were old friends. Hate to admit it, but I'm actually jealous. I couldn't even do it if I lived to be 100. I don't know. You can kind of get better at that stuff, but the thing is, like, you won't, because I don't think you're interested in that. It's admirable how he's always true to himself.
何言ってんだ。お前も少し見習った方がいいぞ、ユウヤ。ひねくれてるけど顔はイケてるからな、お前は。何？人間は第一印象で8割決まるって言うからな。お前ならできる。そして俺に分け前をよこしてくれ。
Clean up the stragglers. Wait a minute, Vincent. You're selling yourself way short here. He's just pretty much saying, like, oh, I'll be your wingman and I'll just, like, grab, you know, second best. And it's like, no. Like, you're pretty cool too, Vincent. I mean, you're best boy. I don't know why you're putting yourself down in second place.
変なこと聞こうんじゃないよ、ヴィンセント。ユウヤは今のモンモがいいんだよ。これ以上あんなの増やしてどうするつもりだよ。
The way the voice actor just did that line, I don't know if she's supposed to be eating or if she just has a very, like, tight-jawed, like, talk when she's supposed to be upset or something, but, like, it makes her sound very, like muffled, almost like she's struggling to, like, say those words. And it's interesting, because I imagine the impression is intentional. Like, it's not like she talks like that all the time. Speaking of which, Stella isn't here yet?
ああ、奥で料理作ってるよ。そこのグラタンっぽいのもステラが作ったんだ。
Ooh.
へえ。ステラの料理はこいつか？何これうまそう。スレディッシュなのかな？
I mean, it might be, but she also, like, traveled around. She might have picked up some other stuff.
多分ね。名前は知んないけど。ほれ。
Hey, this is good.
お、マジでいけてるな。
Surprisingly tasty for a dish prepared using only synthetic ingredients.
調理に一手間かけるだけで人のぬくもりを感じることができるのよ。それがわからないなんて寂しいわね、あなたたち。
She did say that. She wasn't kidding. Really kind of sad.
見たかいあの顔。うちのエースを落としたか36ミリより包丁だね。
I'd say most men have the same weakness. I mean, it's not necessarily like the same kind of weakness, but I think that all of us could, and I think girls too, actually, because I remember I learned to cook when I was growing up. So by the time I was a teenager, I was all right. I could follow a recipe really well, and I even knew enough to be able to do some stuff without it. And I did realize that being able to do, like, one of my favorite dates turned out to be a cooking date where we would like look up a recipe together and we'd figure out like something we wanted to try. And we'd go to the store together, we'd buy all the ingredients we needed, go back to one of our houses, and we would then prepare the dish together, cook it, and then like sit down and play a game or watch a movie or like, you know, just do something other activity. But it was a lot more like kind of homebody-ish. Like it wasn't like going out and spending a ton of money. It was more about like working together to do something. And ironically, not only is that a very cheap date, like as far as like your budget, like not like cheap as in like, oh, like just doing the easy thing. It's like, no, it's like budget conscious. So you don't need to have a ton of extra cash on you because I was a student at the time. So like I didn't have anything, but it's a really good way to bond. Much better than something like going to a movie. It's like you get that opportunity to like coordinate, work together and like divide up tasks and then like, put it all together. And then you get to like actually partake of what you worked on. And if it's great, it's awesome. You can talk about how good it is. And if it's terrible, you can laugh it off as a funny joke. You know, like there's really no bad ending to it unless I don't know, unless your date's kind of a prude. Then I don't know why you'd be dating that kind of person. But that's just me. I remember this particular time when we did it, we made enchiladas. Really, really good. Horrifically bad for you. There was so much fat in there, it was ridiculous. But it tasted amazing. And then I remember we were both, it's so funny to say this, but we were both nerds, and we loved Star Wars growing up. That was one of the things we shared. Like, she and I had both grown up watching Star Wars, and we both loved it. And so we had been doing like a slow marathon of it, where we were getting together a couple times that week, and we'd watched New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and then we were watching Return of the Jedi. And I remember we were watching Return of the Jedi, and it gets to the ending, and you have the confrontation between Luke and Darth Vader, and Luke kind of snaps. He gets angry when Vader threatens Leia, and he just kind of goes berserk, and he actually defeats Vader that way. And I remember like we were talking about that, and I was just like, man, I love how Luke, like, he's a foil for his father in the perfect way, because he also got angry, and he struck out in anger, which is like something Anakin always did. But instead of letting that anger and the mistakes that he made consume him, he pulled back, tossed aside his weapon, said, no, I'm not going to let that dictate the rest of my life. Like, I made a mistake. I went too far. I did something I regret, but I'm not going to let that hold me down. I was like, that's like the true lesson of Luke Skywalker, is you can make mistakes, but you can be better than them. But then she turned to me and she was like, what are you talking about? He didn't do that. That would have been like, if he'd used the dark side to beat Vader, it would have defeated the whole point. That was why he was able to resist the Emperor. And we got into like a 30-minute debate, to the point where we were almost like yelling at each other. But like it wasn't like actual mad yelling. It was the fun, friendly yelling, which is really weird to say, but it's a real thing. And we were just like debating, but the whole time I had this stupid grin on my face. And we never came to agreement. We ultimately had to just agree to disagree. But I still look back on that as one of my favorite dates, because it was just us being able to be ourselves. Just, we were comfortable with each other. And the setting and the method we got there, like, it's hard to have an awkward date when you do something like work on a project together. Anyway, man, I'm just rambling.
Huh? What?
Shut your mouth, Vincent.
お前も相変わらず気持ちいい食いっぷりだね。やっぱ男はそうでなくっちゃね。
Stella would be happy seeing Vincent practically drink the gratin down. Maybe I should take a couple cues from him. I wonder how Mom felt back in the day, seeing me eat in complete silence, just going through the motions, not particularly enjoying the taste. To be honest, I can't even remember if she was a good cook or not. What a son I was.
おいおい、何不景気な面してんだよ。なんだよ。またなんか考え込んでんのか？
I love how he leans into that. That's a really fun little effect they did. Nah, just had some things stuck in my throat. Gosh, what the heck am I doing? I'm bringing the mood down again. The one thing I promised myself I wouldn't do it again. Anymore.
よし。じゃあいいもの見せてやるよ。きっと悩んでんのがバカらしくなるぜ。
Uh-huh. What, dude? You don't know what you're talking about in the first place.
いいからほれ、見てみろ。
What?
はい、ゆうや。楽しんでる？
Oh my gosh. Oh. Vincent's right. My mood's improved. Yeah, I know, man. One day ago, September 3rd. Oh, we're getting a flashback?
でも、なぜ私が？別に注意だけじゃありませんよ。パーティーの時は男女関係なく各国の腕自慢が厨房に入るんです。
If she
当
got
然私もですけど。
if she got Yui to make a homemade Japanese traditional dish and she can cook it well, Yuuya is gonna have the most complicated, like, happy day of his life. Because I bet you it tastes amazing and he's gonna be super happy and impressed, but at the same time, it's also like pure Japanese, and he's just like, he's gonna have that like bitter pill in the back of his mind. It's gonna be great.
派遣慰労パーティーは国連軍主催の公式式典ですから、舞台責任者である高村中尉の参加は絶対の義務ですよね。
Oh, Stella. You know the fact that she could probably figure out a way to not do it in such a overt way.
それはその通りだが。参加の仕方までは指定されてはいないですよね。お忙しいのはわかりますが。あ、そういえば、最近うちの男どもがこぼしてましたよ。
Stella's playing her like a fiddle. Kind of like how Vincent plays us like a fiddle.
何日も注意の顔を見てないだとか、たまには声が聞きたいとか。私はタリサにぼやくんですよ。
Oh my gosh.
失礼な話だと思いません？こんないい女がそばにいるっていうのに。
Stella, that's a dirty tactic.
だから言ってやりました。そんなに会いたいなら、自分から会いに行けってね。同じ苦しみなら、
Fetch me.
会えないより会えた方がいい。ま、私は、ですけどね。どうします？注意。
Oh man.
私は。すみません、注意。一つお願いがあるんです。注意はご存知ないかもしれないんですけど、私、料理が趣味なんです。ほう。それで、日本の料理にも挑戦してみたかったのですが、なかなかいい先生に巡り合う機会がなくて。
She's really good at this.
もしよろしければ、教えていただけないでしょうか。
ブレーメル少尉。
はい。
私も、参加させてほしい。
She's like, why am I here? So, what's with the apron?
おかしいのか？おかしいのか私は。私の格好は変なのか？
It's not a bad weird, though. That's right.
そうだ、おかしい。だって BDU の上にエプロンなんて、これはおかしい。おかしすぎる。むしろマニアックだ。
Yuuya. I like how this is all absolutely a conversation she's having with herself in like a 3-second span.
違う、そうではない。BDU の上にエプロン自体はおかしくはない。ブレーメル少尉がその証拠だ。彼女はよく似合っている。要は私が似合っていないというだけだ。でも厨房の衛師たちは褒めてくれていた。だから大丈夫だ、大丈夫のはずだ。これは
Oh no.
いや、ひょっとしてあれはお世辞だったのかもしれない。どうしよう。
Oh, I feel bad, but I love it. Smile at her, dang it! Whoa. Yui's the last person I expected to see here. She went out of her way to avoid dinner parties in the Soviet Union, so I had her pegged to someone who wasn't great at mingling. Like you.
ブリッジ少尉、食事は進んでいるか？
I think she... Come on, girl. At least pretend to, like, not be only interested in him. What did you think about? What did I think about the food? It was finger licking good, surprisingly so. You keep the colonel out of this.
ありがとう。
それは大変結構だ。優秀な衛士には、栄養補給に関しても特に留意しなければならないからな。
Alright, it's official. Yuuya is the definition of adorkable, and I love it. I'm here for it. Huh? She's like a deer in the headlights. I don't think I've seen her tense up this much since the bikini photo shoot. Scratch that, since the PR mission in Guadalupe. Is it just me, or are you being even more polite than you usually are?
そんなことはない。気の
Oh
せ
my
いだろ。
tsundere. Okay, if you say so. Like, heck, I'm imagining things. Why is she so nervous about anyway? She's starting to make me feel tense. Everyone's
貴様
gotta
の
be
口
like,
に合うかは知らないが、私も料理を作ってきた。栄養バランスも優
stop
れて
talking
いる
about
から、ぜ
nutritional balance.
ひ食べてくれ。あ、いや、食べてみるか。
Oh, it's very cute. I do love this. This is really fun. And you know, it's fair. Like, you see it in anime, you see it in TV shows, mostly anime, but I think it's the Japanese cultural part of it more than anything else. But frankly, there is nothing better than having somebody whom you're even moderately attracted to making you food, and you knowing it's like, I want to give this food to you. It's just a whole nother level. You can be somebody who might be a passing interest or passing like consideration for a guy, and you make them something like this and you give it to them, and I think you'd shoot right to the top of the sudden intake. And I bet you it works the other way around with girls as well. Like if a guy cooks for a girl or a girl cooks for a girl, like I imagine it's all very similar. But as a guy, in my experience, it's a really good way to make an impact. Holy crap. Sure. No way. Talk about surprise.
これは肉じゃがといって、日本の伝統的な家庭料理。
Oh my gosh. How much you want to bet that's what his mom made? Ah, so that's why Yui's stressing out so much. She was worried I'd freak out over being served Japanese food. No, but you're kind of in the right ballpark. I get it. Yui wants me to appreciate Japanese culture, but she doesn't want to throw me in the deep end. It's a smart way to play it when I know I could fly off the handle just from hearing the word Japan.
どうぞ。
これはね、帝政ロシアを打ち破った日本の海軍提督がビーフシチューを元に考案した料理なのよ。
Okay, just a random idea here.
へえ、縁起いいじゃん。このタイミングにもってこいだよ。
はい、どうぞ。暑いから気をつけてね。
Sure. Life never fails to surprise me. A typical homemade Japanese dish. Imagine that.
美味しいね。僕これ大好き。なんていうお料理なのこれ。
I had a feeling. Oh.
よかった。これはね、ママのオリジナルなのよ。
ママもご飯美味しい。
Yeah, mom's special, alright. She must have thought I'd spit the dang thing out if I knew the truth. Because there's only one reason my mom could have known how to prepare a traditional Japanese dish. It was one of my old man's favorites. The reason mom never told me her beef stew was actually a Japanese dish called nikujaga. Oh, that's so interesting. Just why did mom keep making this? Did she cook her favorite dish for me because she never got the chance to do it for him? Did she use me to fill the gap? Yuuya, wake up. This isn't about your mom right now. I appreciate it's meaningful, but at the same time, this is about Yui. She'd love the son of a bee more than she loved me? Nah, that's not it. That's not it at all. Mom was so stubborn as a mule. She'd never cook something for years out of some misguided self-pity. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Mom wished for me to develop a healthy appreciation for Japanese culture from my own heritage. But in my mind, the bee was synonymous with Japan as a whole. Nothing anybody could do or say would have changed my mind. That's why Mom lied to me all those years. Gosh darn it. He's gonna have a Ratatouille moment. It's good. It's great. I love it.
そうか。それは
Yeah!
よかった。その料理は母から教わったんだ。
Your mother. I see. Well, no wonder it's delicious.
いや、母の味付けには遠く及ばないのだが、あともう少し煮込めていれば、隠し味の胡椒がもっと馴染んで。
Oh, it's not that good. I actually know exactly what I could have done to make it even better. Because I actually know a lot about cooking. But this is a way you can... This is the epitome of Japanese, like, humble bragging. You don't say. Her mother, huh? Never expected Yui to reminisce about her family.
だから、この料理は未完成とも言える。それはすまないと思っているのだが。
Take a look, Mom. I'm savoring it now.
これで未完成？いやー、奥深いっすね、日本料理。十分うまいけどな。
You know what I'd kill for? I love curry, but only curry I've ever had really has either been Thai or Indian. I know Japanese has a traditional Japanese curry, which, you know, like a lot of the flavor profiles are similar, you know, but the way you prepare it can make a big difference. The same thing with Indian and Thai having different profiles and such. So I really wanted to try an authentic Japanese curry. One of those things I've really wanted to do someday. Also, like, there's a town in Japan that specializes in, like, apples. And apples, like, my favorite fruit. And I love all the different ways you can cook and prepare it. And I remember watching it abroad in Japan where he went to, like, this restaurant where they served special apple dishes. And I think one of them was an apple curry, which just sounded amazing.
そうか。
私はもっとスパイシーでもいいぐらいだな。ま、これはこれでいけるけど。
ありがとう。
Can I have seconds?
どうぞ。
Yeah! I'd like to try a complete version of it next time you make it.
そうか。では、次の機会に挑戦してみるとしよう。
He didn't mean that, but that was smooth. That's how you, like, essentially, like, lock in a potential second date. It's be like, oh, well, next time we'll have to do it differently. Or like, it's a really subtle way to kind of say, I'd be interested in doing something like this again, without being really, like, coming off creepy or awkward. They're all like, oh no.
ちょっと、ですね、注意。なんつうかそれでいいんですか？
もうお前はどうなんだよ、ゆうや。
What'd I do now? I didn't say anything wrong, did I?
あ、そう。
たく、揃いも揃ってどんくせったらねえな。見ちゃいらんないよ。
Yes. Yes, you are.
もうおかわり。
I don't think I've ever heard grumpy eating before, but that was brilliant.
ずいぶん楽しんでるみたいじゃない。
Oh, that's the Chinese girl. It's like the bell was the giveaway, but I was like, that voice is familiar. Huh? Who's that? A surface pilot? Gosh, she's adorable. Holy cow.
あれ、確かどっかで見た顔だな。
私は統一中華先生のツイーフェ。階級は注意よ。堅苦しいのは嫌いなの。楽にしなさい。あんたがユーヤブリッジス？
That's me. Can't even have a friggin' meal in peace. This crap's why I don't like parties. And what's her deal anyway? So, what's your business with... What the fetch is she doing?
あんた、何やって？
Is she like climbing in his lap? What's the big idea? You're so hungry, go get your own food.
ちょっと、見えないじゃない？
What are you doing? What's the big idea?
案外綺麗な目してるのね。
Yeah, sorry, I'd have to say if I were in Yuuya's shoes, she would have got me right here. I'd be like, oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not necessarily the kind of like step on me kind of guy, but I definitely like an assertive, like a individual, especially in a romantic sense. I just like that, like, I know what I want and I'm gonna take it kind of attitude. It's a very appealing. I'm weird. What? Did you start making sense already? What's the deal with this chick?
聞いてるわよ。あんた、米軍のエリートだったんだってね。
I think she's really doing it just to throw him off guard. I'm at the UN now, so what business does the Chinese Third United Front have with me?
こっちの話はまだ終わってないわ。
Okay.
で、その米軍のエリートが、なぜ日程の開発チームにいるのかしら。
Oh, she just goes right to the heart of it. Life happens. I'll let you know when I'll let you know we're a multinational force.
自国の戦術機開発を外国人に任せるなんて、日程も相当行き詰まってるようね。
I'd be like, it's a collaborative effort between allies. Trust me, as you saw in Russia, the Japanese have quite the handle on their own technology.
で、もともとあんたは何人なの？
Alright, you're losing points now. Come again?
名前からして家系じゃないわね。日系？関係？それともアメリカ国籍を得るために軍に入った口かしら。
Hearing noises. I'm...
質問に答えなさい、ユーヤブリッツス。あんたは？
ちょっと待ちな、注意殿。
What is this? What is this post?
その男はやめときな。見ての通り奥手なやつでね。
Hey, what?
男あさりに来たんだったら、ちょうどお似合いなのがいるよ。のぼせ上がったメスにはもってこいのスケベ野郎が。
I've never heard that phrase before.
おい、タリさん、ちょっとひどくねえか？そんな言い方じゃ、BG が気の毒だぜ。
BG じゃねえよ。お前だよ。
部外者は黙ってなさい。私はこの男と話してるの。
Yeah, but like I said, I don't think she's actually interested in that. I think she's trying to like put him on the back foot.
私、ボンスコアしか出せない英士に興味ないの。
Fetch me.
少しおとなしくしていてちょうだい。
誰がボンスコアだ、こら！
はいはい、わかった。
つい注意。あんた、誰？私は、XFJ 計画開発主任、日本帝国近衛軍中尉、高村結衣だ。へえ、あんたが、日程の、あんた、部下のしつけがなってないわね。特にあのチワワ、キャンキャン煩わしくてかなわないわ。
I like how she even calls her a chihuahua.
てめえ
Calm down, Teresa. You're proving her point.
なんなら私がしつけてあげましょうか。2日もすれば喜んで尻尾振るようになるわよ。なんたとこら、やれるもんならやってみろや。
おい、やめろってタリさん。
Yep, call it. You can't even have one effing meal in this place. What is this screen? This looks oddly familiar. Class rep in Ayamane, huh?
つい注意。我が隊の英士の比例はお詫びする。ただ、今日は生還を祝う無礼講の席。ここは穏便に済ませてもらえまいか。
なんだこら、タコ食うな、逃げんじゃねえよ。
はいはい、話がややこしくなるから、ちょっと静かにしましょうね。
Another one.
安心しなさい。別に階級かざしてあいつをどうこうしようなんて、耳っちいこと考えてないから。
She's a stubborn one.
ユーヤブリッツス、あんたはまだ私の質問に答えていない。で、どうなのよ。
Why does it matter? Subtlety isn't one of this chick's strong suits, huh? Well, may as well give her the answer she wants to hear. I'm Japanese American.
ユーヤ、お前。
Interesting. That's actually cool. Like, it took me a split second because it's like, that's the actual answer. But like, he's always said, American, I'm an American, I'm an American. But now he said, I'm Japanese American. He's owning it. Oh, Yuuya, you've grown. Salute to you, my friend. Japanese American. That's right. That's what I am. The honest to God truth. Can't run away from your blood. More importantly, I can't let her down. There's beauty in that purity of purpose. I can't deceive myself any longer. I was born and raised in the United States. I'm an American citizen. Accepting my heritage doesn't mean I have to forgive my old man, but it's stupid to condemn an entire country because of one deadbeat. So, what? Is it weird to see a Japanese American or something?
別に、私もある意味あんたと同じ。二つの祖国を持っている。
What?
私たち、気が合いそうね。
Oh gosh, is she actually flirting?
また会いましょう。再见。
What the fuck?
やれやれ。まさにバオフェンだな、ありゃ。
She's an interesting one.
バーフェン？じゃあ、あいつが？
そうだよ。この前見た派手な軌道の隊長機。多分あの女だ。
And here I was hoping to ask her for pointers. There goes that idea. That woman's messed up in the head.
たく、
I
あ
don't know
の
about
野郎
that.。
一体何しに来たんだよ。
She's still the most... Like, the thing is, like, if she were in the running, I think she'd be giving Yuuya a run for her money in my book. But, you know, that's me. That's me.
ま、偵察にしちゃかなり雑だよな。
No, I think it was her way of throwing down a gauntlet of sorts.
おそらく挑発だろ。
Maybe a little bit. I do genuinely think, though, she seems like she's a very upfront kind of person and not the kind of person to go for, like, diabolical backdoor manipulative deals. I think it's more the fact that, like, she's confident in who she is, she believes that she can win, and she wanted to get a solid introduction with Yuuya right up front, because then she wanted to be able to approach him, like, on a stand when she wins. Like, that's her idea. She's like, I will win and I'll be able to stand before him and kind of like earn his respect, because he did some pretty incredible stuff in Russia. Like, that's not going to be denial. Like, sure, you can say the railgun was a major part of that, but it still was really impressive. Something that like kind of blew her away, and the numbers don't lie. Secondly, he then, like, I don't know how much information she would have got from the fallout of the base incident, but the fact that he like was on his own in his first like close quarters combat with Beta, holding his own and being able to like protect and rescue people, like probably a pretty solid reputation from someone on the outside. So she probably wanted to get a good look at him. Probably wanted to like break the ice essentially. And she doesn't want to like dance around her interests or her like motives per se. Like, she doesn't seem the type to be very like, what's the word? She's not a master of guile, I would say. Like, she doesn't seem, I doubt she would appreciate that approach. I don't see her as being the kind that would take that approach. I don't think she was trying to play mind games other than maybe the mind game of intimidation. But even then, like, she didn't say who she was. She could have said, oh yeah, I'm the leader of the like such and such squad, and they would have clearly identified her of who she was in the combat, but she didn't. She just said like, hey, I'm with the Bao Feng. Like, that's all you need to know.
つまり、実力はそれなりに認めてくれている。ということでしょうね。
On the other hand, I wonder if she's privy to like the whole idea of trying to knock Yuuya and his team down a notch. You know, like a lot of people kind of want to see, like, there's a lot of like intrinsic motivation to see the team fail. I don't think she's privy to maybe the political machination wise, but she might have been kind of goaded into seeing him as a rival to try and make sure that she performs well against him.
舐めた真似しやがって。あいつ絶対ボッコボコにしてやんよ。
Anyway, two other countries, huh?
ねえ、クリスカ。
何？
いつまで。クリスカはいつまで一緒にいてくれるの？
どうしたの急に？何かあったの？
さっき、ユウヤが。
ブリッジスが、どうかしたの？
Yeah, what's this about? Like, he didn't hardly do anything.
ユウヤがね、少し遠くに行っちゃったの。
ブリッジスが、遠くへ？
寂しいよ、クリスカ。私、寂しい。
But he's getting further away from what? Like, if anything, I feel like he's been getting closer to everybody. How is he getting farther away?
安心して、いいにゃ。ブリッジスは遠くになんて行かない。
でも、
大丈夫。イーニャがそう願うなら、私がそうするから。
本
当？ So sweet.
だから、私もずっと一緒よ。
本当？
ずっと一緒。よ
かった。
ユーヤ、ブリッジス。
She's like, yeah, I would be confused too. I'd be like, why is she obsessed with this guy? She's like, especially if her mind was kind of like, you know, if she deleted some of her memories, I'd be like, why is she obsessed about that American dude?
イーニャが、願う、なら。ここは。
What the fetch? Whoa. Oh, is she like having her memories kind of brought back? Oh, that's the I am gonna murder you look. What was that? Interesting.
What 何だったんだ。何なんだこれは。
What is happening? She has all these weird attacks and stuff, but is she being attacked now? I'm thinking, if I had to guess, I'm thinking that like they routinely like suppress her memories, like especially the ones that they find problematic. But when you bury that much trauma behind, you know, hypnosis and drugs and whatever, like, not too uncommon in theory and in some cases actual fact that they've bubbled to the surface. Your subconscious is going to be aware of a lot of your memories that might be locked away, whether intentional or no. So maybe that's just kind of what's happening here, especially with Inya being so focused on Yuuya and Yuuya being tied to so many of these memories that have been buried recently. Maybe she's forming a synaptic bridge in a way to her old self, and that's what this is. But again, like, she's also had other attack-like in moments, and I don't know why.
Q4 セカンド、規定高度に到達を確認。速度そのまま、指定区域への移動を継続せよ。
August 1, understood. Oh, look at that buddy go. It looks so much. It looks like a freaking, like, it looks like a Voltron copy or something. It's cool.
危なかったよね。
Another good. We're getting so many good screenshots. I can't use all of them. Dang it.
コマンドポストよりアルバス1、遊ぶのもほどほどになさい。テスト中に
硬いこと言うなよ。94セカンドの2番機が組み上がるまで地上勤務ってのはストレス溜まるだろうけどさ。
アルバス1、今のはエアロバティックチームへの転属アピールかどうなのか。ドール注意が強く確認したがっているけど。
Nice. Returning to designated position.
やれやれ。けど随分とまあ嬉しそうな子って。
What can I say? I'm a simple man to please.
うわ、お前熱でもあるんじゃねえの？
Makes you sick. Get off my case, Tiny. Running your mouth, I swear to God.
うえスルーすぎてキモいんだっつーの。あの耳っちくてむっつりなるだってお前はどこに行ったんだ。
Shut your mouth. Who are you calling selfish?
おいおいお二人さんよ、その辺にしとけって。そろそろ。
Hey, dummy. Anyway, can't blame me. I'm just using the final phase of this acclimation program, batch me, to see what this baby can do in the MSIP modules installed. Simply putting final touches on it, like any good test pilot would. The fact this thing handles like a dream makes it all the better.
頼むぜ大将。ブルーフラッグで伝説が誕生するか否かは94セカンドの仕上がりにかかってるんだからな。
Oh, I'm sure. He's fully on board with making this thing the best thing ever. Blue flag. Legend?
お前さん、本当に94セカンドにしか興味ねえんだな。ハルトビック大佐の大遊びにブルーフラッグって名前がついたんだよ。昨日ブリーフィングで言ってたろ。
Oh, is that so? My mind was elsewhere. Anyway, what's this about becoming a legend?
決まってんだろ。全勝してアラスカ完全制覇すんぜ。
Oh, he's just talking about winning the competition. King of Alaska? What?
ああ、そうだ。アラスカ最強は俺らアルゴスだって知らしめりゃお前、基地中の女が寄ってくんぞ。あ?
What did I expect? Anything else? Questionable motives aside, I wouldn't mind putting some respect on our name. Funny, a couple months ago I would have been raring to go, but now I feel perfectly calm. The old me was always trying to prove I was a real American by being better than everyone else. Well, that does sound American, actually. I was overtly conscious of my heritage, locked in a constant fight with myself. But now I feel like I've got nothing to prove. I just want to take this bad boy out and see how far we can go.
いいか、マッチョだなんだって言われるかもしんねえけど、やっぱ女ってのは強い人間に惹かれるもんなのよ。天才なところを見せてうんぬんってのはその後の話でな。
Whatever floats your boat, man. I mean, he sounds like he's successful, but at the same time, it's like so shallow. I don't know, man. That's an interesting tactic to take. All right, I'll bring the gold home. I promise I'll do everything I can.
お前もやっと女に目覚めたか。結構なこったぜ。よし、基地中の女に俺らの愛を振りまいて。違う
っての。ゆうやお前と一緒にするんだ、バーカ。
コマンドポストよりアルゴス各機に次ぐ。チェイサー1、チェイサー2は3回。所定の随伴ポジションへ。
Children.
チェイサー1了解。ゆうや、力みすぎてボンミスするんじゃないよ。
アラスカ制覇の第一歩だぜ。張り切ってぶちかましてこい。
Yeah, I know. I know, but thanks for the reminder.
コマンドポストよりアルゴス1、ジャイブス起動。XFJ-01 完熟プログラムの最終フェーズを実行せよ。
Alright. Argus 1 to command post, executing test program. You and I meet again in the world, partner.
おい、ゆうや、とんでもねえ記録が出たぞ。
あ
まったく、ありゃ完熟ってレベルじゃねえぜ。お前ってやつはどんだけ俺を驚かせりゃ気が済むんだよ。どんな気分だ、天才英士。おい、ゆうや
Haven't you noticed? I'm aiming for the top.
てめえ
He's playing with him.
くんの野郎、驚かすんじゃねえっつえな。
Oh, come on. I gotta have fun. I saw you grinning from ear to ear like an idiot. Couldn't resist. Dude, you're not supposed to be so more hyped than I am.
うるせえ。これは整備兵の特権なんだよ。
It does feel pretty good. I feel like we've been able to share this journey. It's been a long one, but we're here. Perks, smirks.
あ、ムカついた。てめえの94セカンドのネジ抜いておくぞ。
Oh, you better. You sure you want to do that? Yes, that's your responsibility. We'll end up smoking wreck. I taught you mechanics took pride in your job well done.
うるせえ。
I love
There.
Vincent.
軌道制御で何か気になったことは？もうちょっとカツカツに締めて P キーに振ってみるか？
Well, if you want to see how far you can take it, that's fine with me, I guess.
けど、なんだ？
I just mean, like, why fix what isn't broken, you know?
言いたいことがあるなら言えよ。そいつがお前の仕事だろ。どうした？まずいことでもあったのか？
I don't mind his current torque settings personally, but what's the point in developing a high-performance TSF that only a handful of people can handle?
うぬぼれてんじゃねえぞ、この性格破綻者か。
He's losing his nerve.
立ち上がれ、このひねくれ者が。
Quit screwing around. That's dangerous, man. I'm seriously gonna fall.
てめえはいっぺん落ちろ。そんで真人間に生まれ変われ。
I love these things. We've pushed the TSF's performance to its very limits, but this thing still is still a joy to fly. Factoring the quality of life changes has put my very American-like spin on the machine. Well, I guess that's one reason I want to take the Shiranui second out for a ride. Nostalgia's one heck of a drug.
なるほど、なるほど。ね？
It does look cool. I think it's like the paint job definitely is very like ostentatious, but I kind of love it. QOL improvements aside, that sharpness so characteristic of Japanese TSFs hasn't disappeared at all. I have no complaints about the control system's unique linearity, and with that enhanced acceleration G-dampening mechanism installed, it's a breeze to pull off three-dimensional maneuvers.
ほうほう。それで？
The greatest contributions are those thrusters on the waist and shoulders. I mean, you saw that vertical axis turnaround, right? Believe it or not, that was a walk in the park. And don't get me started on the increase in fuel efficiency. The synergy of the new design's aerodynamic parts and the conformal fuel tank to jump unit's high-performance, fuel-efficient engines is out of this world! Can you believe it completely offset the weight increase and then some? He's like so geeking out. I love it.
なんだよ、ゆうや。まだ話は途中だろ？早く続きを聞かせてくれよ。
I'm feeling observed here. It's freaking me out.
いやー、本当に彼嬉しそうじゃないですか。そう思わないかね、ローウェル君。
奇遇ですな。実は私もそう思っておりましたよ、ジアコウザ君。
Yeah, I'm sure he'd date the TSF if he had the opportunity.
やっぱユウヤはひねくれてないとやだ。
What? Hey, wait, what's the deal with you people?
おいおい、まさかここで引くつもりじゃないだろうな、メインテストパイロット殿。
What?
詳しいレポートは後にするにしても、機体の大まかな評価は今ので十分伝わったさ。
What, are you gonna christen it?
あとは最高のテスト機に乗ることができたお前自身の気持ちを、それを成したみんなに分かりやすく伝えるだけだぜ。
Yeah, good idea. So step up and rally the troops, so to speak. I used to think these pep talks were a waste of time, but I guess I've come around to the idea. Well, I'm not much for speeches. Let me get to the point. You guys absolutely killed it. I love it.
あとは乾燥中の2番機が上がってくれば完璧だな。
おお、いよいよだな、タリサ。
ああ、今日の動きを見てますます気に入ったよ。あれを見てこいつに乗りたがらない奴はテストパイロットじゃないね。
まったくだ。ブルーフラッグ全勝も夢じゃねえな、マジで。
It is a good looking tea set. I mean, look at that thing. Like, I can't stop staring at it. It's just, it's beautiful. God, that red trim with the white is really complimentary. Oh, I'm so excited to play Armored Core 6.
ブルーフラッグ完全制覇だ。アルゴス最強。
That was completely out of character for me. But I'll be darned, the sheer new second's coming along great. For the first time in my life, I was actually looking forward to the paperwork. It's all coming together. My skills, Vincent and the mechanic's tireless efforts, Hyman's top-of-the-line technology, it's all come together to mold the Shiranui second into the most responsive and easy-to-handle TSF I've ever come across. Blows like a butterfly, stings like a bee. Yeah, this TSF will save a ton of lives. A rookie could easily make it fly, and a veteran could comfortably make it dance. That's a great combo. Just you and me, partner. Going together towards new heights to conquer. Well, I already found my personal mountain. Actually conquering it's a whole different matter, though. At least now I realize why Yuuya went so easy on me. She wasn't out for blood, rather. She wanted to show me the way. Aww. My confidence isn't unbreakable. I had a million things on my mind, but worrying about failure won't achieve anything. I'll just do whatever it takes to win, let the chips fall where they may. Whatever it takes, huh? Same mentality I had back when I first joined the academy, single-mindedly aiming for the top. Come hell or high water, I dedicated every waking hour to mastering TSFs. Didn't matter if I was sick or exhausted. I didn't skip a single day of training. I attended every single lecture on warfighting and piloting theory. Hardly ever exchanged 2 words with my classmates. Fraternizing didn't rank too high up on my list of priorities, because if a push came to shove, I knew instinctively no one would have my back. The same people mocked me a workaholic, but it didn't faze me one bit. Story of my life, same thing happened when I arrived here. No, I can't let my prejudice blind me to the truth. My time in Yukon has been completely different. The only constants in my selfishness and the darn competitive streak. Everything else has been novel experience. Came to Alaska, the same a-hole I was before. Did anybody reject me? Far from it. I was met with warm welcome. Uncomfortably warm, even. I joined the army to get away from discrimination, but it took me no time to realize the military isn't that different from society at large. No, I imagine it was probably worse. That's why I've been putting on my front all these years, to escape from my past. My past is a half-Japanese kid who brought the misery to his mother. Naturally, I figured people here would treat me the same. But I was wrong. I still don't know if it's because the things are more chill in the rear or something, but I've never felt so welcomed before. I don't know. I think you'd actually be more welcomed in the front lines, because you're alive and you're keeping people alive. Like, if you're a body in a TSF fighting, I think it'd be very difficult for people to just initially write you off. I'm Japanese American. After everything I've experienced these past couple of months, I can finally utter those words freely. The same words I would have choked on in the past. Takamura Yuri. Everything started to change when I began to accept her. I've matured this much because Yui's been there for me, guiding me every step of the way. Thanks to her, I can finally leave my prejudice against Japan behind. It would be a cold day in hell before I forget my old man, but at least I can keep things compartmentalized. Gosh darn it, I know that word. Why do I hate my tongue? That's why I was finally able to acknowledge my Japanese identity without feeling the need to make excuses. Japanese home cooking. Imagine that. Mom's special. My favorite dish throughout all my childhood was actually a Japanese dish. Such a stupid lie, all because I wouldn't eat it if I knew the truth. Well, I found out anyway, made my peace with it. I can see now what Mom was trying to do, to preserve and pass on some kind of memory of Japan as best she could. Nikujaga must have been my old man's favorite. All those times Mom saw me eat it, she looked so happy, like it was warming her to the core. It was a sign that B and I had something in common, a sign I was his flesh and blood. Mom never stopped loving him. My struggles to become a model American citizen did nothing to make her happy. Fetch. How could I have been so narrow-minded? Son of a b. All my bad memories are resurfacing one after another. It was only a few days before Mom died when the news said the United States had violated the U.S.-Japan Mutual Security Treaty. Serves them right, is what I thought. My heart burned with a fierce hatred for Japan. The world would be a better place without that pissant little island. God, I feel dirty just saying that. Maybe if Japan were gone, Mom would finally be released from her curse. That idea was on a flight of fancy, but it brought me some comfort nonetheless. But Mom didn't see it that way. Far from it. She must have felt like her heart had been cleaved in two, and I never even tried to lessen the pain. Now I understand, but reality isn't so kind. Mom's been gone for years, and I won't get the chance to apologize. I won't get the chance to pay her back. I know, Lieutenant Colonel. I screwed up big time. If word about my sullen mood got back to her, that woman wouldn't let me hear the end of it. I deserve every word.
そんなところで何をしているんだ?
Oh, hi. Kriska?
すまない。休息中か?
Nah, don't worry. What's up? Come to think of it, this is the first time you've initiated the conversation. Having trouble finding Inya? That's quite a funny face.
なぜそれを? まさか貴様、私の思考を...
What? What? Sorry, what?
なぜ私の目的が分かった? 答えろ、ブリッジス!
Isn't that, like, if you're not together, isn't that usually what you're doing? You can't possibly be serious.
貴様、私をバカにしているんだろ? 真面目に答えろ!
That's my line. You sure you're not trying to make me look stupid?
バカになどしていない! 貴様はもともとバカだ! 今更バカにする意味などない!
Fair. Ouch. Kriska sure doesn't mince words. The scary thing is, I can't sense any malicious intent. She's just calling it as she sees it. Can't even get angry at that.
貴様の質問に、私は真剣に答えたぞ。さあ、早く教えろ。私の目的をどうやって知った?
Well, I'll be. She wasn't kidding. Alright, you win. I'll confess.
早くしろ。
It's a simple matter of deduction. Inya's always wandering around the place, and you're always trying to find her. On top of that, normally you wouldn't strike a conversation with me. Put two and two together, and the answer reveals itself.
なんだ、そういうことか。
Well,
意外性も何もないな。
it does seem over the top. But also, we just had that whole interaction she had, like, was it last night? Where Inya was talking about how she's afraid that Yuuya is getting farther away, that, like, they're gonna lose him. And she's probably like, what the, why? And so now she can't find her and finds Yuuya near the fence. And she immediately assumes, oh crap, did he do something to her? Again with the insults. And she kicked the ladder right out from away from my feet.
それならそうと早く言えばいいんだ。貴様がもったいぶるから、逆に気になってしまったんだぞ。
She actually is laughing. What? Am I hallucinating or something? Did Kriska just laugh? I've only ever seen her crack a smile when talking to Inya.
では本題に戻らせてもらう。貴様のところにイーニャは来なかったか?
No, it's just been me and my thoughts.
そうか。邪魔をしたな。
Before you go, do you even have a clue of where to start looking?
あると言えばある。ないと言えばない。だが、いつものことだ。
Right. Well, that makes it very interesting to be like, well, why did you come to me then? Well, sure, Inya loves to pull off those little escapades. Don't tell me you're actually searching blind.
だから最初に。
Oh, wow, she looks very vulnerable now. I don't follow.
あの子が行きそうな場所を。最初に一番の心当たりを探しに来たんだ。
Well, that's interesting. What?
貴様に会いに行ったのだとばかり思っていた。あの子は、貴様に懐いているからな。
Yeah, looks that way. And now depression is written all over her face. Kriska must be worried sick about Inya. That or she disapproves of her attachment to me. I'm gonna go double jeopardy, say both. Either way, I'm kind of jealous. Wish I had a partner who would always have my back. Took me long enough to realize it, but having someone you can rely on is priceless. Inya and Kriska were family to her. Inya said Kriska was family to her. The kind from Tsar Battalion always also shared that kind of bond. Must be nice. It's too late to do anything for Tsar, but at least I can still treasure what exists between myself and the Scarlet Twins. Anyway, how'd you know I'd be here?
まあ、そうだな。勘のようなものだ。ここに来れば、必ず貴様に会えると思ったんだ。
Alright, now this is getting a little weird. I see. Good enough for me. Kriska's intuition's pretty sharp. She'd never get those insane killer scopes otherwise. Killer scores. So, any idea where Inya might have gone? What kind of places does she like?
そうだな。風景を見に行ったり、各国の野外ハンガー、リルホートの菓子屋、ショーウィンドウを見て回るのも好きなようだが。
She like...
ああ、最悪だ。
Yeah, she really, she's not making this easy. What is?
私たちは、軍機でリルホートや多くの西側施設に許可なく立ち入ることを禁じられている。堕落した文化に触れてはならない、とな。
Dang. She's known so straight-laced, but even she's kind of calling out the kind of propagandiness. That's the reason you can't search openly? Explains a lot. That's why you always chase her after her alone, right? Dang, Inya must have balls of steel to wipe her butt with her orders on that regular. Though, I guess the Scarlet Twins have certain privileges, and your run-of-the-mill surface pilots don't. I mean, Inya did literally waltz into a heavily guarded Soviet facility with me, a U.S. Army pilot, in tow, and got away scot-free. Again, yeah, it's easy to forget that she literally brought him to, like, the core of, like, probably one of their most, like, secretive military, like, research stations. And he didn't get shot immediately. It's impressive. Other Soviet soldiers would have met the firing squad for doing something half that blatant. Heck, I never heard of any Soviet soldier enjoying so much freedom.
いろいろな場所を見て回るのは、あの子のたった一つの楽しみなんだ。だから、奪われたくない。
You gotta remember, she must be so young. Like, 14, maybe? Maybe younger? Oh. Even when authorities are willing to look the other way, you can only push things so far.
ラトロは中佐をはじめ、ジャール大隊の兵士たちは、ソビエト人民の危機を自らの神命をとして回避した。私は彼女たちを誇りに思う。私も彼女たちのように、祖国のために戦って死にたい。
Still, Kuska's concern for Inya's emotional well-being obviously trumps military discipline. She must care about her deeply. Alright, I'll lend you a hand. Should be more efficient this way.
手伝う？なぜだ？
Because things will move faster that way. With me around, you can search Little Fort and other Western Bloc facilities without any fuss, right?
そんなことをして、貴様に何のメリットがある？
I don't know. Inya's safe. You don't look so sad. Those are wins in my book. Jesus. She's my friend too, you know. It's only natural.
普通？いや、そんなはずはない。さっき言っていた理由は、私が得るメリットだ。貴様が得るものではない。
It's not your fault, but you're really, really trying not to be human, right? Well, yeah, when you put it that way. Man, this awful transactional view of personal relationships. What's happened to this chick? Now wait, sounds mean, but coming from Kriska, it does actually make sense. Kriska's making one heck of an effort to socialize, but since she's so blunt and earnest, she ends up being her own worst enemy. Not that she's cold or anything, she genuinely fails to understand the simple concept of doing a favor for a friend. It's a completely alien notion to her. True, her whole life, it's probably been people wanting things from her. There's no malice behind her words. Kriska's built her identity around her position as a Soviet soldier. As such, keeping with discipline and advancing the interests of the Soviet army takes maximum priority. She's only being true to herself. It's impossible for me to miss it. I built my identity around being a real American and went completely overboard trying to prove I bled red, white, and blue. Just like me, Kriska needs to establish her own unique identity, one not based on groups or labels, but on who she actually is. That might be one of the things she needs to change her lifestyle for the better. Luckily for her, the more the more innocent you are, the easier it is to make the necessary adaptations. Yeah, she went against military regulations to find me because she was so worried about Inya. Kriska's not as set on her beliefs as I used to be. I wish there was a way to open her eyes.
互いに自分を押し付け合うだけじゃうまくいくわけないって。相手に合わせ、 その都度伝わるようにやり方を変えるべきだろ。
Again, Yoda Vincent coming through. It's the Yuuya situation all over again, isn't it? Step 1 is speaking in a language Kriska can understand.
どうしたブリッジス？なぜ黙る？やはり貴様にメリットはないのか？
Stop talking in equations, okay? Not at all. I do get something out of this. If we look for Inya together, there's a possibility I'll get to see her too.
なんだと？
It was thanks to Inya's wanderlust that I got to meet the two of you. Well, it hasn't always been smooth sailing, but let's not get into that. I owe it to her to make sure she can keep doing the one thing she enjoys. Out of character for me to be so direct, but any attempt at a subtlety would just go right over Kriska's head.
ブリッジス、貴様。
Long story short, our interests are aligned. Convincing enough for you?
いや、やはりよくわからない。
Wait, really?
だが、貴様が自らの意志でイーニャを探したがっていることだけはよく見えた。
So... Oh, that's great, so...
申し出は受けよう。貴様が禁足域を探してくれるのは正直ありがたい。
Time's wasting then. We gotta come up with a plan. Where should we start looking? And if she isn't there, what's the second most likely spot?
いや、同じ場所に長くとどまるような子ではない。西側では貴様が唯一の例外だ。
So, she likes to hit off all her favorite spots, huh? Anya's been missing for a while, so I guess she's already ticked those off the list.
そう。貴様に会いに行くのはいつも最初か最後。
Ah.
だからここに来た。
That's interesting.
うろうろ探し回るより、貴様の周辺で待つ方が、あの子を見つけられる確率が高い。
A lot of good logic there. Smart thinking.
気づいていないだろうが、イーニャが貴様の近くにいることは多いんだ。話しかけにくいときは遠くから見ているそうだぞ。
Oh, interesting. What, she does that? That explains why I don't see either of them in Kamchatka and a couple other days after. Not because of regulations or whatever, but because she could see I had other stuff going on. Man, now I take a step back, I've realized just how preoccupied with work I've been lately. Grinding my brain cells to figure things out or chasing after new leads.
見つからない場合でも、2時間もすれば、あの子は必ず帰ってくる。いつもだが30分ほど前、明後日の初戦に向けたブリーフィングが急遽設定されたんだ。開始まであと1時間。もしそれまでにあの子が戻らなかったら。
Right. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. If they decide to keep Inya on a shorter leash, she can kiss her little adventures goodbye. Hey, I'm not trying to sound like a smart A here, but what does your intuition say? You guys are so close. You're like real sisters. You must have a hunch, right?
いや、あの子は特別なんだ。だから、わからない。
Special. Oh, crap. If Kriska's anything resembling my old self, she must hate when people poke into her business. That was careless. I can't get carried away on the second we start having a normal conversation. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to pry or anything. Forget it.
いや、いいんだ。あの子が私にとって特別なのは、誰の目にも明白だ。
Couldn't miss it.
あの子は。
Kriska, come on. There's no need for...
あの子は、私のすべてだ。何よりも大切な。
Aww.
私の
Kriska.
ブリッジス。貴様に尋ねたいことがある。
Well, don't be so weird about it. Shoot.
あの子は、なぜ？あの子はなぜ、貴様に懐くんだ？
I have no idea.
はあ、ユーヤブリッジス。
Oh, I recognize that bell. I think we're going to go ahead and end here, though. The next time, we're going to start the search for Inya and apparently run into the Chinese girl again. My personal favorite, I think. We'll see. We'll see. I need to get to know her a bit better. But anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Hope you all enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed recording this episode. Man, this is a weird one. I kind of thought we were going to get to the combat flights today, but maybe not. Like, it might be what happens right after this hunt for Inya, or we might see more. Like Muv-Luv has always been kind of an enigma this way, where there are times where I think stories are going to be really short, where they end up being much longer than I expect, and other times where I feel like there's a lot to explore, but the next thing I know, it's over. It's just really interesting, and it leaves you guessing, and I think that's a really good thing. It's not like it's ever been lingering too long. Maybe Extra had a few moments where I felt like, all right, let's move on, but like, Extra being the weakest title in all of Muv-Luv is not saying much, considering it's still really, really good. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out. But I'm excited either way. It's going to be really fun. I think it'd be interesting to get to know Enya and Kriska a bit more now. Like, I feel like this is going to be a really true to form, like, discovering their role and seeing the human side of them. We've seen a lot of Yuuya, and Yuuya have kind of come a long way. I feel like we're going to see like a comparative closeness and relatable relatable connections with Kriska and Enya. I don't know. I'm guessing Kriska and Yuuya are romance paths, if there are branching paths. Like, you guys have said there's choices in the game, so I just haven't seen them yet. But I keep getting the impression it's kind of like pre-laid out, but we'll see. I don't know if anybody else is available as choices, so we'll have to see. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you especially to the patrons and members of the channel. Like, you guys are awesome. I don't deserve you. You're all so cool. And I really appreciate your support. The channel's also been growing recently. It's been really fun to see. We're getting really, we're creeping towards 3,000 subscribers, which on the scale of YouTube isn't a lot, but for me, it's so cool. Like, that we have like anybody who's coming around, and like, it's really fun, especially when we see the newer people come in. Like, someone just popped onto the Discord this past week saying like, hey, I haven't interacted with very many visual novels, but I just like participate. I watched like the Fata Morgana series. It was a series they'd watched, and they're like, I loved it. It was really fun. And they asked for recommendations on what else to watch. And before I even saw the conversation, other members of our community were recommending things. And it was so like, it's one of those weird things where it's like, there's not a really good way to phrase that. And I obviously thank you, and it's wonderful, but like, to know that it's something that you're willing to share without really without being prompted to, like, I don't have to beg. I made it a point never to beg for subscriptions or likes or comments. The closest would maybe be comments, but I'm not really begging for them. I'm usually wanting to hear feedback based on what I discussed in the episode, and kind of just wanting to hear back from you. But again, like, it's up to you. I never wanted to feel like pressured. Same with Patreon and membership. Like, it's never something I'm ever going to push. Despite the fact that it's probably detrimental to the channel's growth as a whole, it's something that I don't really enjoy in content creators I follow and like. I can like everything about the content creator, but whenever they start shoving that stuff down my throat, I feel kind of alienated. I feel like I'm just part of a machine of success. But here, I feel like we're just friends and, acquaintances sharing something we really enjoy that's hard to talk about with like most people in our lives. And that's really something valuable to me. So for me, that's the most touching thing I can ever see, is like those times and moments on the internet where people are making a recommendation about a video I've made or a series I've recorded, or recommending one of their favorite visual novels I haven't covered yet. Like, all of that is just so meaningful to me. So thank you. Sorry for the soapbox thing. I'll get out of your hair, but thank you so much. And thank you for sticking around. I look forward to next week and another full week of great videos to make, so I can't wait to share it all with you. So until the next video, watching me, ever see me next. I'll see you there.